Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is going to be a huge video, the first of the new Artisan mousepad reviews with the Type-99, which is also Artisan's first true control pad. And yeah, if you are somebody who has always said like the Zero's a speed pad, Artisan doesn't have any control pads, this is going to be the pad for you. Pretty much no way around it. You can just see in these little tests I'm doing that this pad just has no slipperiness to it. This is the X-Soft variant, but I do of course have all of them, so I'll do some comparisons to the GSR, the Zero, some other mud pads. But yeah, before I get into the review, I just want to address a few things. First of which is that these are pre-production samples. The surface, the specs, pretty much everything is finalized, but this is obviously not like a final product with the Artisan logo on it. And availability wise, I have received a response that was like the first half of this year would be ideal, but there's not like a firm date attached to it. And they do have like a nice like matcha green colorway potentially coming out with the release. So yeah, but currently I just have the black squares, and I will try to make it as interesting as I can. And one of the first aspects is just going to be the feeling of the surface, and it's quite similar to the Zero. And some of you guys, a lot of people have said that the Zero surface just has a bit of like roughness, like kind of graininess to it. And I would say that that feeling is reduced on the Type-99. It's honestly like, I don't know, if I was in a blind test just touching both of these, I'd be like, maybe the Type-99 feels a bit more fuzzy, but it's pretty damn similar. But when it comes to stopping power and initial friction, it's just greatly increased on the Type-99. And one thing I noticed specifically, a reason I like the Zero is because it always did have pretty low initial friction, just manageable dynamic friction compared to some other like true muddy control pads. And when I flick somewhere, let's say I just don't hit the target exactly, it's much easier for me to make like a small smooth micro adjustment on the Zero compared to the Type-99, where once I flick it kind of feels like I'm stuck into the surface, especially if I'm putting on pressure on like one of the softer variants, specifically the X-Soft. As you can see, there is just a fuck ton of plushiness, which is the same goes for the Zero. I'll show my X-Soft Zero copy as well. But yeah, and I'll quickly just do a glide test between the Type-99, which is on the top, and the Zero, which is on the bottom. Just a few runs of each, and you can just see that the mouse is like moving quicker when I flick it at relatively the same speed. I mean, I'm not a fucking robot, but I've been flicking mice enough to feel like I can do it pretty consistently. And yeah, just the Type-99 is across the board going to be slower and more controlled. And obviously for a lot of people, that is what you're looking for. For me, that has not ever been my mousepad preference. Now the next comparison is going to be with the Zowie GSR2, and these are actually going to be quite similar in terms of speed and just playing feeling. Obviously they're not identical clones of each other, and I did swap out my Type-99 for the soft variant, and that is another advantage that comes with Artisan, obviously being able to choose X-Soft, soft, or mid depending on your preference. And the reason I pulled out the soft is just because the GSR is a bit thicker, and it's definitely not as thick as a mid, and it's nowhere near as plushy as an X-Soft, so I just figured it stacks up a bit better against the soft version. But yeah, you can see, I mean, I don't know why I'm using a finger instead of my lighter like some type of barbarian, but you can see there's just not a lot of plushiness, while on the soft it still does remain. And yeah, ignore this thing with my GSR SE, I just had it stored in a pretty bad situation. But yeah, the Type-99 is also going to be larger than the GSR in the XL size. It's also going to be a little bit more expensive, also more premium materials, but what really matters is how the pads play. And I would say that, honest to God, it's like just a similar feeling. Like, if anything, I feel like I'm more locked in. Like, after I move my mouse and stop it, I feel more locked in on the Type-99. So it might even have like more of a muddy feeling than the GSR. And yeah, this is of course the newer GSR, the revised version that is better against humidity, does not supposedly wear down as quick. So yeah, my unit might be playing quicker than, I mean, certainly playing quicker than like a 5-year-old GSR SE, but obviously out of the box, the Type-99 is going to be massively controlled. And obviously being an Artisan pad, it is ideally going to stay that way. Obviously a surface isn't going to speed up with time. So I guess if you are a mud pad lover, you can try to fucking wear this out and get it even slower. And I guess the fact that it is available in X-Soft and soft variants does actually make it more controlled, or at least easier to add control on your end. If you don't know how to like manage pressure, let's say you have a heavy mouse, you're just fucking heavy hand like pushing it into the pad on an X-Soft, your experience, in my opinion, is going to be miserable unless you just cope and convince yourself that that is a good feeling mouse experience. And last but not least, I have pulled out the mid variant, and you can see that this is seriously a stiff pad. So if you're looking for, in my opinion, just the safest and most controlled variant, I would say that's going to be the mid. And you might think that's weird because, like, shouldn't the X-Soft be more controlled? And generally that's what I think, but if you keep like a light glide and you kind of just graze around on the X-Soft, it actually does just feel even a bit speedier compared to the mid, where it's just like, I don't know, you can see this is where mouse glide goes to die. So yeah, obviously skates are going to factor in a lot, which is why I've been doing like a GPX and final mouse for the most part, because I feel like that does cover the bases. I am not a dot skate user, and especially on the softer variants, I just presume dot skates would feel pretty ass. But yeah, the mid, if you are looking for a truly controlled variant where, let's say you're used to a GSR, you don't want to mess around with the plushiness or anything, which I don't think that's the best idea, but I think that the mid is just safe for people who want a true control pad. And it's actually kind of crazy how well Artisan pulled it off, because, I mean, I don't know what flaws you could really say this has, presuming you don't want any speed. And yeah, it's kind of crazy because for years now, people have complained that the Zero is too fast, that there's no adequate control pad in the Artisan lineup. I've never been on that side, but even if that is where you stand, after you try the Type-99, I guarantee you won't be saying that, because I can't think of any pad like significantly slower than this to the point where a comparison will make it feel fast. One of like the final mud pad types to really compare is going to be the Wales Rizz pad, along with a very similar style to this, where the surface feels waxy on like the Pure Track P51, the Infinity Mice control pad, and these are also going to be seriously slow pads. I should probably use a wireless mouse, but it's just a different feeling of control. And yeah, one thing I noticed with these more waxy feeling pads, let's say, is that there is even less feedback on the surface. It's just like completely smoothed out on your mouse skates, and these are very interesting. But one thing I noticed is like the more you move the mouse around, the more like the dynamic friction builds up, and I just always find it weird. But these pads are quite good for like static, just anything where you need to be doing flicking and not a lot of tracking, which is where I would say the Type-99 falls as well. And yeah, there are plenty of high quality mud pads. I know that Korar as a company, they make some good stuff. I just tried their pads out in Japan, but I've never like personally used them. So yeah, when it comes to this, I think that it's not the end all be all, like only good, truly controlled pad, but it's just Artisan's version. So if you want the Artisan experience, quality, different hardnesses, which I guess I can give like a quick rundown. I mean, I already have, but my preference is probably the X-Soft using just a lighter mouse, because I feel like it's the most unique experience. If I were to just say like go pro in a game where I wanted the most controlled, best feeling mouse pad, I would probably just main the mid, because I do feel like it is just like so standard and safe. But yeah, really, if you've had a Zero, I would just recommend going with that hardness, or really whatever hardness, because people, they have for many years now, they just treat it like if you choose the wrong hardness, you're just gonna have a fucking unusable mouse pad. And it's not true, but there are 100% going to be differences. Like this mid version is definitely the most textured and rough feeling of the bunch, even though I would not call it rough. But when you compare it to the X-Soft, like hand to hand, you can just notice one of the pads is much softer in comparison. This is the soft, but points still stand. And yeah, quality, I just didn't even speak about it, because Artisan's stitching has been the same for years. They're obviously not going to slip up in that department, and they are using Poron. And I've never been what the fuck, I can't speak. I've never been much for like review guides, but Artisan did provide this, so if you guys just want to read their little write-up on the Type-99, feel free. It does feature their new conductive threads, which is just a way to prevent like static issues, make it more compatible in high humidity environments, and just keep the feeling like consistent and solid. So this is, I presume it's going to retail at the same price as the Zero. I mean, don't quote me on that, but if you can get this shipped to the US for like $65, bundle it with another Artisan pad for around 100 shipped for both of them, I mean, that's an incredible deal. I'm gonna give this the seal of approval because it is a pristine quality Artisan mousepad. I mean, the mousepad seal of approval, I kind of stopped giving them out, but I don't know, and something like this is going to hit the market. I feel like it's just at that top tier for people who want a control pad. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, this is not going to be my main mousepad. I was able to use it in Fortnite without any issues, even just raising my sensitivity a little bit. The game did feel very smooth and just stable, locked in, but I do prefer the feeling of, let's say, the Hayate Otsu V2, even the Artisan Rokaku, which will be the next version of the new Artisan pads that I make a review of. But yeah, of course, since this is, like, I guess the first review of the pad, if you have any other questions, let me know in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them. But yeah, quality-wise, really no issues across the board. and I hope that these release soon so people can see that I'm not full of shit when it comes to this being a solid control pad. But yeah, that's going to be all for this video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, let me know what you think of the Artisan Type-99, them basically taking the zero, making it smoother, higher static friction, higher dynamic friction, and then just having a very safe, bordering on muddy mouse pad in their lineup. But yeah, that's going to be all. Peace out.